Data science is not machine learning. It is not about building complicated models. It is not about making the most beautiful graph. It is not about writing code. Data science is about using data to solve business problems and to create as much impact as possible for your company. Now, impact could mean multiple things. Impact could be insights, outlier detection, or product recommendation for your company. Now, to create these impacts, then you need tools like writing code, making data visualization, or building complicated models. But essentially, as a data scientist, your job is to solve real business problems using data. And what kind of tools do you use? We don't care. Now, there's a lot of misconception about data science that most people have. And I think this is because of the huge misalignment between the hype and the actual data science job in the industry. A very good example is the recent release of the ChatGPT last year in November, which has really taken the world by storm with all the media hype, talking about the AI revolution and how AI will change every single industry. So with the AI hype, it is easy to think that data science is all about building machine learning or AI models, just like the research scientists at OpenAI. But that's not the case for most data science jobs in the industry. Because of this misalignment, I want to make things clear in today's video. I've been a data scientist for startups, mid-sized to large company. So this is my take on what is data science. Now, data science isn't just about coding. Data science is a combination of computer science, math, and business knowledge. At the end of the day, being a good data scientist is not about building complicated models. It is about solving business problems using data and create as much impact as possible for your company. You are not a model builder. You are a problem solver. Companies will give you the most ambiguous and hard problems to solve, and you are expected to guide the company to the right direction. Now, I want to show you how data science jobs are different at different sizes of companies. So this is a very useful chart that tells you the needs of data science. Personally, I really like this chart because it shows how data science fit in to solve business problems at each level. Even though it doesn't really cover the data science workflow, which I'll talk about that later at the end of this video. So if you are interested to learn more about data science workflow, so stay tuned. So if you look at this chart from bottom to top, everything actually starts from data collection, which involves logging, sensors, data, user-generated content on social media, stuff like that. Then you need to store this data in some form, either in database, with your infrastructure, through your data pipeline and stuff like that. So these two layers is part of the data engineering workflow. After this, once you have collected and moved and stored the data, this is where the data science part comes in to do the data cleaning, analyze the data with some sort of metrics, or even build some simple machine learning algorithms. So essentially, these are important, but not so covered in the media because of the hype of AI nowadays. After the data science part, then you reach the top of the chart, which is AI. But for most companies, this is not really the highest priorities, unless you are working at OpenAI, Meta, or Google, to develop some breakthrough and cutting-edge AI models. Chances are you won't really, go deep dive to build a whole new AI model from scratch. Very likely you will just leverage what is available in the market, in the industry, and use that to solve your business problems. So, what do data scientists actually do? It really depends on the size of the company. For example, if you work at a startup, essentially you will need to become a full-stack data scientist, doing data collection, data pipeline, data engineering, analytics, building ML models, or even deploying this into production. So it starts from bottom level here all the way to the second top level, as you can see here, if you work at a startup. And the reason why is because usually startups don't have enough resources or money to hire different employees, software engineers or data engineers to come in and help. And therefore, if you join a startup to work on any data science project, chances are, I'm not saying 100%, but chances are you need to do everything from scratch. For a mid-sized company, the company has more resources. It can hire different roles to come in and do their work. And therefore, data scientist role become more defined to do more technical work. For example, if you look at this chart here at the bottom level, when it comes to data collection, it is actually done by software engineer. Why? Because software engineers are the ones who build the product, whether it's a mobile app, whether it's a website. they are all being used by the users, and when they use those products, data is actually generated and collected and sent to the backend. After data is collected, then it is sent to the pipeline, and the pipeline is actually built by data engineers. So data engineers will basically handle the data pipeline, the flow, the infrastructure to support the data volume, and send this and store this into their own database. Anything that is above this layer is actually done by data scientists. Imagine the data is stored in a database. Data scientists can then go into the database, maybe do some SQL query, get the data out, do some simple analytics, train some ML models, and show them, present the insights to the stakeholders. So everything that you see here, above here, is done by data scientists in general at a mid-sized company. Now, for large company, the company has even more resources. It can hire different roles for different specific purposes in the company. So each role becomes more specialized in certain area, so people can focus on what they are good at without caring about the rest of the workflow. For example, when I was a data scientist at Micron, my role was mainly to clean and analyze data to solve manufacturing problems, and my task back then was focused more on the analytics side of things. Software engineer would usually collect data for us through some sensor or logging. Once data is collected, data engineers would then move this data through the pipeline infrastructure and store this in our database, and we as a data scientist would then go in maybe through some SQL query, get the data out, do some aggregation, and also to run some analytics to solve some issues in the manufacturing line. And then at the top of this chart here, usually the AI deep learning stuff would be done by some either fellow scientists, research scientists, or AI engineers in the company itself. So for me, myself, I wouldn't usually develop those like cutting-edge AI models. It was done by either some research fellow in the company, and then I will go in and do some analytics or maybe even write some production code for the ML models built. That's it. Essentially, if you work at a large company as a data scientist, your role will become much more specific compared to startups and mid-sized company, and that's because they will have more people, more employees for different specific tasks. In summary, data scientists can be all of this. Your role as a data scientist will be different depending on what company you are in. Okay, now that you have learned more about data science jobs, I want to show you the last thing that I promised you in the early part of my video, and that is the full data science workflow in data science project. So here's how the data science workflow looks like. By the way, it is a team data science process proposed by Microsoft to help companies structure their data science projects as a team in a most effective and agile way. Essentially, data science starts from understanding the business, understanding what problem that you are trying to solve. Once you have defined a problem statement, then you need to define the objective, like what is your goal of this data science project. Once you have defined the objective, the success metric, and all these, getting the alignment from different stakeholders, then you go identify the right data sources to collect. After that, the next step is to go and collect the data. So you need to talk to the stakeholders, understand from other engineers, hey, where can I get this data? And therefore, this is where the data acquisition and understanding part comes in. You try to collect the data from other sources, and then you clean the data, do some EDA, exploratory data analysis, explore the data, understanding the trend based on whatever insights that you want to get. After this, the step 3 would be to do some modeling. Now, I would say that this step is entirely optional. It really depends on your project. If your project doesn't require any ML, that's fine too. So this step is only required if your data science project requires any machine learning development. If your project needs ML building, then yes, you need to come to this step here. Try to get the data and run some model training, do some feature engineering, basically get the right features to train your model, and then you test the model whether it is robust or stable or not. And once you have tested the model, you think that the model works as is intended, then you need to think about the next step, which is your model suitable for production or not? Because not every model is suitable for production. You need to really understand what is the trade-off if you deploy this model in production. After that, the fourth step is to deploy the model into production once you think that the model is ready for deployment. Deployment here can be different ways. You can deploy the model on your website. You can deploy the model on a dashboard to provide some sort of prediction or insights, or you can deploy your model in your backend applications to do some outlier detection to flag out any potential issues that is happening in your backend. And finally, the final step is that once you have deployed the model or solution, you need to go through with your customers or your users to maybe do some validation with your customers to check that, hey, is the model making the reasonable prediction, or are we providing the right insights? So all in all, this step is where you present your insights, where you present your models to your users, to your customers, to some through storytelling or presentation. Essentially, what you are seeing here is a few steps that is usually required in the whole end-to-end data science workflow. If you ever work in any data science projects, this is more or less the workflow that you have to go through as a data scientist. And that, my friend, is how data science workflow looks like in a company. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope this video was helpful to you. Please let me know in the comment below what you would like to learn more about data science, and I'll try to talk about it in my next video. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!